Welcome to Unveiled Mysteries, where every story hides a secret.
In April of 1982, a small fishing town in Alaska was shattered by an act of violence so shocking that it still echoes through the community decades later. Craig, Alaska, a quiet town surrounded by forests and cold ocean waters, was the last place anyone expected a mass murder to occur. But on one terrifying day, 7 people would lose their lives, and a mystery of betrayal, rage, and obsession would be revealed. This is the story of the Craig, Alaska mass murder. Craig was a peaceful fishing town on Prince of Wales Island. Most people knew each other. Neighbors trusted neighbors. Crime was rare. Among the residents was Charles "Chuck" Campbell, a local man who had recently lost his job at a fish processing plant. Those who knew him described him as troubled, angry, and unstable. He believed his former co-workers were responsible for his downfall. And in his mind, they had to pay. On April 7, 1982, Campbell armed himself and walked toward the fish processing plant where he had once worked. What happened next stunned the entire town. One by one, he targeted employees he believed had wronged him. People tried to escape. Some hid. Others ran into the forest nearby. By the time it was over, 7 people were dead. The sound of gunfire echoed through Craig's normally quiet streets. Panic spread quickly. Residents locked their doors. Parents rushed to find their children. Craig had become a town under siege. Alaska state troopers were alerted immediately. There were limited roads, dense forests, and nowhere to run safely. But Craig's remote location made things difficult. Campbell fled into the wilderness. 4 hours. Law enforcement searched through rain, trees, and rough terrain. Helicopters circled overhead. Boats patrolled the shoreline. The town waited in fear, unsure if the killer would return. Later that same day, authorities located Campbell in a remote wooded area. When they approached, he refused to surrender. In the confrontation that followed, Campbell was killed. The nightmare was over. But the damage was permanent. 7 families were left without loved ones. A peaceful town would never feel safe the same way again. Investigators later concluded that the massacre was driven by rage over losing his job. Campbell believed his former co-workers had ruined his life. Instead of seeking help, he chose revenge. It was a tragic reminder that untreated anger and isolation can turn deadly. Craig mourned together. Funerals filled the small churches. Fishing boats flew flags at half-mast. Schools closed for days. The town changed its approach to safety and mental health awareness. But even today, older residents remember that day clearly. They remember the sound of sirens, the fear, and the silence that followed. The Craig, Alaska mass murder remains one of the deadliest workplace shootings in the state's history. It is a story of broken trust, uncontrolled rage, and the devastating consequences of violence. And it reminds us that even in the quietest places, darkness can appear without warning. If you or someone you know is struggling with anger or isolation, seeking help can save lives. Because no town should ever have to relive a day like this again. This has been another case from Your Channel Name, where the past speaks, and the truth is never forgotten.